On the streets of Kherson, anyone is fair game. Every day, swarms of Russian drones glide across the river on a deadly hunt that locals have dubbed a human safari. They target the old and the young, men and women. Flying low, they taunt and terrorize their prey. A man crosses himself, preparing for the worst, before the drone buzzes on. Others are not so fortunate. Russian social media is awash with these videos, complete with heavy metal soundtracks and gloating comments. But to the people of Kherson, this is anything but a game.
So this is the central square here in Kherson, and you can see it is eerily deserted, just a few people out on the streets. It was raining and cloudy earlier, which means sometimes more people go out because that's not good weather for flying drones. But now, again, just a handful of people. All the stores you can see over there are basically boarded up.
The one supermarket open is heavily fortified. For Kherson residents, the simplest daily errand is the riskiest part of the day. Some can't even get to the supermarket. We drive to meet volunteers from the local administration.
So we're heading now to the eastern outskirts of the city. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the city, and they're getting ready to distribute some aid. They have to do it quickly and efficiently to ensure that they don't get seen by the drones.
The area is very exposed. We're told to hide our body armor under our coats.
Okay, so we've just arrived at this point. You can see they're starting to distribute the aid.
Beleaguered residents emerge from their homes, where they live largely stranded. They grab supplies for neighbors who need help. They've lived through Russian occupation, then liberation, now this. Ina and her granddaughter tell me that life is so hard here. But there's no time to be afraid. She goes to collect her box of supplies.
So I told her that she's very strong, and she said everybody here is very strong. They have to be.
A man sets about repairing the roof of his home, undeterred by the near certain prospect of future attacks.
So they're saying that they have heard from the army that Russian drones have taken off from the other side of the river, so they're telling us to move on now.
We speed through the roads back to a safer part of the city. Nowhere in Kherson is really safe. The local hospital is surrounded by sandbag barriers.
He says they hit here quite a lot. That's why there's all these protections outside.
Across Kherson region, there were more than 2,000 drone launches just last week. The aftermath of that staggering statistic clearly seen here. Alena Shigareva says she and her friend were walking home from work when they were hunted. We were two women, all made up, without hats, carrying flowers and wearing white jackets, she tells us. They could see we were women, not soldiers. It's just horror. In another room, 19-year-old Boris is recovering from lung and leg injuries after the minibus he was traveling in was hit by a drone. 2 people were killed and 8 wounded. They are Russians, what can I say, he tells us. They're animals, nothing else to say.
Pretty much every room in this entire ward has someone in it who has been injured or maimed by a drone. The doctor says they have 28 drone injuries that they are treating at the moment. This is just one of 3 hospitals that serve this city, and he said the number has just been going up and up since last August.
We steadily receive 90 to 100 patients injured in drone attacks a month, he says, and there were 20 attacks in 1 week on the hospital's generators. Russia has frequently targeted Ukraine's power infrastructure in this war, but rarely has it so flagrantly pursued civilians. We can call it a hunt for civilians, Mayor Roman Brochko explains. The Russians send fresh drone units to Kherson region, and they train by attacking ordinary people with drones. Then send these units to Donetsk and Lugansk. Then they send another new unit here to continue the human safari.
What can you really do to protect people here?
There's no panacea to fully cover the city because the Russians are developing their technologies, he says. There's no jammer that can fully close the sky. And so the people of Kherson suffer on. As outside powers bargain for an end to this war, nowhere are Russia's intentions felt so intimately. Clarissa Ward, CNN, Kherson.